Okay. And let me just make sure I can have them. So, hi, Angela. Thank you so much. Welcome to Girls for STEM, First for Girls for STEM. Thank you so much. I've worked with you. We've done so many things. We've done, summer panel. She's in STEM. You were so amazing. And I was just thinking, that I should speak to you. You have really surprised me. What kind of a person you are, how you have managed to be in STEM, and also just how motivated you are. So I thought of, maybe I should have an interview with you. So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate. I know you're very busy. You doing your studies, things like that. So anyway, let me not talk too much. I would like you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Angela. I'm currently a rising sophomore in Los Angeles, California. I go to Granada Hills Charter High School. For STEM, I'm mostly interested in computer science right now. But yeah, I'm trying to expand my interest to other areas as well. And currently, I'm trying to enjoy my summer. And yeah, I love doing robotics. That's how I got my start in STEM. Currently, doing some summer camps and programs to further that interest.
Wow. No, that's really, really inspiring, especially for your age. So you said you're in grade what?
I'm going to 10th. Yeah.
You're going to 10th grade. Wow,
Mhm.
amazing. I've worked with you and I've seen the way you think, the way you just do things. It's so amazing. So I just want to see, parents out there, how can they make their, child, be so positive and just become like the person you have become. It's just so amazing. So I have some few questions for you, Angela, and let's go ahead and ask you. So I just wanted to ask one question. So I have my phone here. So I'm going to ask you. So the first question is, how much do you agree with the statement, I see myself as a STEM person?
Yeah, I definitely do agree with that. I know like part of me is a STEM person, but I also do other activities too, like speech and debate. So that's a part of me that isn't so much STEM. But I think I'm not just a STEM person, I'm also a girl in STEM, which does also come with its own set of responsibilities and factors to consider when you're trying to expand your STEM experience. But overall, I do think
Yes.
I'm a very strong STEM person. Like it's my favorite topic, and
Yes.
it's what I spend a lot of my time doing, activities within and investing my time towards.
Wow. That's so encouraging. So the next question is, what information, about science learning experience you remember as a child?
Um, hmm. Well, I don't know if I was a child then, but in seventh grade or so, I joined a robotics team. So
Yes.
before that, I wasn't very interested in STEM. I was more interested in creative writing. I
Yes.
loved like, language arts and all that. But then I joined the robotics team and it was a little bit, hard at first and a little bit boring in my opinion. But because I was a programmer, I got to code up my first robot and it was really simple. It was only like a few blocks of programming. It was really, really easy. Anyone could do it. But I felt like just realizing how easy it was to get started and just kind of like, fostered an interest in me because it was probably one of like the biggest experiences I had that led to how much I love STEM today, which is,
Yes.
hands-on experiences with, what it can do and how it can be applied on the larger scale.
Yes.
So that was definitely one of the biggest experiences I had related to the science STEM area.
Wow. So did you just develop that kind of liking in STEM, or were you introduced to it? Do you remember anything? Maybe I may ask you later in the questions, but I just want to know, did you remember, or maybe your parents helped you? Do you remember anything like that?
Yeah, so I remember I first heard about the robotics team through my brother's friend because they went to the
Yes.
same school. And so my mom said I should join just to test it out and see if I liked it. And I was a little bit reluctant because I didn't like, a lot of I didn't like working unnecessary work and all that. But I definitely started taking a liking to it maybe around our first competition,
Yes.
which was, I believe, 2018, summer of 2018. And I guess part of it wasn't just like an automatic liking, because that usually doesn't very much happen, but it was more of a series of steps that led me to realize that, yeah, maybe this is a field that I would really want to continue pursuing. And I realized that through, building my own robot, testing out sensors, having it move, and also just thinking on my own about what else I could do with the robot and how else I could program it. And I felt like having that freedom was definitely something that drew me to STEM, because even though it may be difficult at times, it gives you like unlimited, opportunities to expand your knowledge and learn new things, and also apply those things in like an infinite amount of ways.
Yes, and I think it's a good feeling where you see that you can make something move. It gives you that sense of freedom of exploring your imagination, right? I think that's what I love about STEM. It's that kind of a job where you're given that freedom to make mistakes, to correct things. It's just awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Angela, for that. So the next question is, so when did you know you were interested in STEM? How did you know that, okay, this is it?
Okay, so in around 2019, my robotics team made it to nationals, which is like our first big experience on, competing against teams from like across the country.
Yes.
And they had a challenge there. So it was like a surprise challenge. So up until then, like I liked robotics, but it wasn't something I was like, I wasn't like, wow, it's totally super amazing. Because before, like all the programs we wrote were, revised, and we had a lot of time to write them.
Yes.
But at that challenge, we had the option to do the challenge or not, and I chose to have my team do it. And so I had to write a program on the spot. We had to test it, and like our team was split into 2 teams for this competition. So the other team was kind of just like, they were doing their own thing. They didn't choose to do the challenge, but we did. And I feel like it was kind of a struggle at first, because I wasn't really used to this kind of pressure and having to make something so quickly.
Yes.
But I feel like even though it didn't fully work, like the first successful try out of many attempts just gave me so much joy, because I realized that, STEM isn't just like repeating a bunch of sequences or something. Like there are many parts of it that are like surprises or places for you to challenge yourself or push yourself beyond your current limits. So that's probably one of the biggest moments when I realized I really wanted to do STEM, because it was also like freedom, just being able to do so many things with one platform.
Yes. Maybe if you can just speak up, Angela, it's a little bit, the volume is a little bit lower.
Yeah. But it was also about the ability to take everything you've learned and everything you've seen, everything you experienced, and apply it to solve a problem you haven't seen before, or a problem that's, a bit foreign to you. You haven't like worked with it before. So that was definitely part of what drew me to STEM, and definitely like one of the first times I started considering STEM as a real career path, or like, the academic path I'd want to take.
So the next question, Angela, is when did science conversations most often come up with your family, in your family? When did they ever come up, science conversations, STEM conversations in your family?
Yeah, so my family is like all STEM. So my mom is an engineer, my dad is in computer science.
Yes.
And my little brother, he's very interested in like all the fields. My little sister, she's a little too young to be like, getting into a career path or academic path yet. But
yes,
overall, at the family dinner table, we usually fool around, but on the times where we don't, my little brother or one family member might bring up something they saw in the news about like a new innovation, like a new invention, usually something from like Tesla or Amazon or any of those big technology companies.
Yes.
And we'll probably talk about it. And I feel like those conversations are always very eye-opening, because personally, I spend a lot of time to look over the news a lot.
Yes.
So getting to hear about like all these inventions coming so rapidly is also very inspiring, because it shows just how quickly the tech industry is advancing and like improving upon itself.
Yes.
But overall, when we do talk about it, someone just brings it up, as something they just recently heard about from a friend or teacher, read online. Yeah.
Wow, that's very inspiring. And that's why mothers should bring the topics, guardians should bring the topics to their children, girls, to discuss about. They don't have to be specialists, they don't have to be doctors, they don't have to be engineers. They can still talk about this conversation because it really does affect kids, and they think about it, and they also, it's an eye opener for them to say that they can venture into this field. Thank you so much, Angela. So the next question is, okay, you did answer. I wanted to say, what were those conversations like? That was amazing. You talked about how you talked about Amazon, you talked about Tesla, over the table. So that's really interesting. So are there any individuals to whom attribute your decision to pursue STEM? Like you'd say, I would attribute to this person or to this person or whoever, if you can share that with us.
Yeah, I would attribute my success or like progress in STEM to a lot of people. Obviously, my family is one of them. My mom and dad have always been very supportive. Like, contrary to what people usually think about Asian households, they're very, encouraging. No matter what I do, they're supportive of it. So if I want to pursue a certain area, or I don't want to do something because I just don't not interested in it, or doesn't give me any happiness or passion, then they'll like accept that and let me do what I want to do. They also like constantly support me. So I got my STEM start because they were finding opportunities for me. And then because of those opportunities, I continued to find them for myself and, move myself along. And also my siblings. Sometimes my little brother teaches me more than my parents do because he reads a lot of science stuff, and, he reads
Yes.
a lot of magazines and articles. So he always, motivates me to learn more about what's currently going on in the field, because I don't, I don't want to fall behind compared to him, but also,
No
it's
one wants
pretty,
to fall behind.
yeah. He's also like an outlet for me to know what's going on. But more importantly, I think a lot of what I do in STEM right now centers around being able to spread STEM to younger girls, or people who often don't have as much access to the resources needed to start a journey in STEM. And I would attribute that kind of passion to Kirsten and one of my teachers from middle school. So Kirsten was very inspirational to me because when I first heard her, we were in an interview, and it instantly inspired me how passionate she was about helping girls in STEM. Because even though she had her own responsibilities, her own life, she would take time out of that to invest it towards the futures of others, whether they were halfway across the world or even just within the state. And I feel like that really sparked an interest for me, because seeing the passion and the commitment she had towards other individuals was like an experience that made me want to do the same thing and make a positive impact on the community around me. And the second one was my math teacher from 8th grade. So she was very similar to Kirsten. She was also very passionate about her STEM career and her area. She was a great teacher, probably one of the best I've ever had. She would offer after school math tutoring. She would offer, programs like math counts, even though she didn't have to, but she volunteered to. And she'd give us snacks, and she would stay in, past school hours or during lunch if anyone had any questions or someone was confused on a topic that was introduced that day.
Yes.
And I think that Kirsten and my 8th grade math teacher were probably one of the two of like the key figures in my life that gave me like the steady motivation to keep going through with my goals. Because at times it was kind of hard. Like, planning the panel was a lot of work, and it was a lot of reaching out and making slides. But I feel like every single time I got to meet with Kirsten, she was very positive about it. She always gave me new ideas. She was very cooperative, very kind. So having those kinds of optimistic and motivated people around you definitely helps you go along in your STEM journey, because it gives you a reason to keep going and keep learning.
Wow. Thank you so much for speaking well about me. And I'm amazed about you. And because of that, you really actually encouraged me. I said, wow. And also, I would like to encourage other kids of your age, and also just parents out there to see what kind of a person you are coming out. And I'm telling you, you are just above average with that zeal. I always ask you about it. I'm like, how do you get that passion, that zeal of working? Mind you, guys, I worked with Angela on projects. She is amazing, very self-driven and very passionate, actually. She thinks so much. She wants to make something better. And I mean, any person, any company, anyone would just love to work with her. And she's just amazing. Thank you so much for speaking, highly about me. So the other question I wanted to ask is, what would you tell to somebody out there who don't have opportunities? Because most of my viewers and some of them may not have some of the opportunity me and you have here in United States. So what do you think you can talk to those people that don't have these privileges that we have, and they're passionate about STEM?
Mm-hmm. So it's already very good to be passionate about STEM at an earlier age, or just any age really, because STEM is a very big field with lots of opportunities for lots of people. But for those who don't have them, I would say that if you're very passionate, just try and find every single opportunity you have. Nowadays, there's more and more online classes being started for girls in STEM or just people interested in STEM. Like there are so many nonprofits everywhere starting online classes. If you have access to the internet, you can do that. But if not, you can always, think alone with yourself. Think about things you find interesting about STEM and try and explore those. So there are lots of things in nature too related to science. You don't just need a textbook to learn more about STEM. It's more of dependent upon your mind and how far you're willing to go to expand your knowledge and your experience. And as for opportunities, I know there are reasons why these nonprofits are being started, which is to provide more opportunities for people who aren't in the United States, people who don't have access to as many, opportunities like having a robotics team or being able to join these clubs and classes. So that is also dependent upon others. But as of now, you want to consider more of what you can do for yourself. And that's just, using every resource available, any person you can talk to, it's a teacher, a mentor, a family member. Honestly, anyone you talk to can teach you something. And whether or not it's related to STEM, or it's a lesson that can later on be very helpful to you in your journey throughout STEM. So as of now, I guess just make the best out of what you have, but just know that there are people out there who are still willing to fight for your education, fight for your opportunities, and, provide you those opportunities. And that's why, I really want to help work in the education area on that, because I know there are people out there who were not as fortunate as me to have a robotics team nearby, or not as fortunate as me to have those robotics kits. So it's very crucial to remain optimistic and also remain very self-driven in your journey to STEM.
Yes, you nailed it. You nailed it. Yes, you have to be very self-driven. That's one point. And also, what matters is your mental status and mental strength of saying, I want to be in STEM. That's what matters. And of course, we are speaking to those that are already growing up, like Angela's age or the girls. So all you have to have is determination to say, I really want to do things. And then you start asking questions, and then you have to speak up. For example, I was listening to one of the gurus, STEM gurus. They were saying, when you're looking for a rope, it's like a rope, right? You're looking for a rope and you need to climb through that rope. You have to speak. You have to say, I'm looking for a blue rope. Whilst you're going round, I'm looking for a blue rope, because that's the only way somebody's going to say, oh, a blue rope, I saw it there. Then you can go grab it and then get to the rope and use it to climb to go to the next level. So you have to speak up, you have to be observant, you have to look out, you have to ask questions, and also you have to be self-driven. And determination as well. Those are the only things that will help you get to the next level. And when you see, you can also use the resources around you. As long as you are determined, you have math and science, you have whatever resources around you, they will get there. So you don't have to say, oh, because I don't have all the resources, we don't have robotics here, we don't have anything. So the most important thing is to take a step little by little. No, thank you so much, Angela. I think we've come to the end of the interview. Oh my goodness, I really enjoyed speaking to you, and you were amazing. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. And I know we are still working together. I can't wait to work with you again. So thank you so much, Angela. I really appreciate.
Yeah, thank you so much for interviewing me. I really like being able to tell other people and encourage them to pursue STEM because, like you mentioned earlier, it's really hard to ask questions sometimes. I know, it's really not about your knowledge because I know my current program, I started off with very little knowledge, and there are some girls who knew so much already. But it's also about how much you're willing to ask questions. Like, don't be ashamed to ask any questions because it's only going to benefit you because people aren't going to judge you for asking questions because I'm sure they've asked the same questions before to someone else. And being able to rely upon yourself is a very key aspect of being able to succeed in STEM because you want to be able to make sure that you as a person are willing to, fight for your right to learn and to learn more and to continuously be able to, have access to academic resources. So just make sure, key thing, just ask questions. It doesn't matter how many questions you have to ask, or it doesn't matter if they're dumb questions. No question is really dumb because every question has, some sort of answer. And at the end of that, and once you get your answer, you won't be dumb anymore. You'll be pretty smart, actually. So just think about it as asking questions isn't like a chore. It's more of an opportunity for you to improve yourself. And yeah.
Correct, correct. Oh, thank you so much for coming to my channel. I look forward to see you again. Hope you come and visit us again. And thank you so much, Angela.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.